How do we have greater influence with the people in our lives and people in our workplace? Influence could be defined as the ability to persuade or even inspire others around us, our colleagues, but also, how many times have you had to sit down in your boss's office and influence him to get a raise? So it's not just a lateral communication that we do. Influence is an important aspect of leadership, just as communication is an important aspect. But influence and communication really do go hand in hand. So today I'm going to tell you that the I's have it. I'm going to give you 7 different I's in terms of influence. Number 1 is identify. Identify the results that you want. And this goes to goal setting. It's not just setting your own personal goals, but allowing others to understand what your goals are. What are you trying to achieve? What are you about? I've been doing a lot of studying on differences between generations, the generational gap, if you will. And I'm really taken by millennials today who are very much in tune with their job, but they want to make a difference. It's not so much what is my career, but it's almost what is my passion? What is my mission in life? Not necessarily that I want to provide for my family, which they obviously want to do, but they want to know, am I doing some good in the world? Sometimes some of those Gen Xers and baby boomers, we don't quite understand exactly where they're coming from. But if we dig a little deeper, we can understand there's a great passion in their workplace that they have. But they perhaps maybe need to do a little greater job of giving us that vision so we understand where it is that they want to go. So identify the results that you want, but you got to share that vision. Also, to illustrate your credibility. It's okay to have an I love me wall in the office of your business or even of your home. Your credentials, your certifications, your business degree. But quite honestly, having gotten a degree in business 20, 30 years ago is not enough. People want to know, what have you done lately? Did you just make one big giant achievement and then sit back on your laurels? Or have you continually made achievements within your life, within your career? Are you growing as an individual? You've got to illustrate that credibility. It's not just enough to say, well, I have the title of CEO, CFO, CMO. What are you actually doing? What have you accomplished lately? Third I is to invest time in getting to know people around you that you want to persuade. And this goes back to sharing your individual vision with those around you, but investing in finding out what their vision is. Why are they there? If you have an employee or someone who's on your team, or even just a lateral colleague, why are they there? What pushes them? What motivates them to get up in the morning and shave and show up for work? Is it just a paycheck or is it something more? We've got to spend that time to fully understand what it is that motivates them. We've got to invite the ideas and involve the others within your quest. It's important that we ask others to be involved in our team. Not just passively, like, here, do this, and then come back and let me know when you're done, but actively. And again, this kind of goes back to millennials. They love to take a hands-on approach. They love to look at things different from the way I would look at things, or baby boomers would look at things, or the World War II generation. They like to see if there's a different way of doing the same thing, or a new way of doing something. Ask them for their advice. Sometimes people my age might dismiss millennials and simply say, well, you just don't have the experience. And by experience, I mean you haven't made the number of mistakes I've made. Which is true. But have we not many times said, and have our parents' generation not many times said, sometimes it's always good to have a fresh set of what?
Eyes.
Eyes. And that's what millennials today will bring to us. It's a fresh perspective. It's a new way of looking at things. And they can be very passionate, very energetic if we will let them in and include them on what it is that we're trying to achieve. The fourth I is to investigate options where we might find common ground. Not just from a generational point of view, but from an experience point of view. How do we find common ground? What is commonality that we share with others if we're all trying to move forward? In today's workplace, you've got millennials, you've got Gen Xers, you've got baby boomers, and if anyone has gone to Walmart lately, you know that we have what we call the radio age or the World War II generation. We've got a lot of those people still in the workforce today. How do we find commonality? How do we communicate the importance of a shared vision that we can all understand? And it really goes to win-win. It doesn't necessarily have to be I'm right simply because I'm the one in charge. Again, in the 21st century, that does not lend you a lot of credence. You have to perform. So how do we find that win-win situation? Sixth I is to intend an outcome that meets everyone's needs. And again, that's going into win-win. How do we look for the ways that people on our task force, on our team, our employees, our clients can get exactly what it is that they want while we still achieve what we want? I love a quote that came from a baby boomer. One of the most famous baby boomers ever, I think, Zig Ziglar. You can get anything you want. You can get anything you want as long as you help enough people get what they want. And the last I is to improvise as needed. In other words, be flexible. Be flexible. Millennials, you may not know this, but 20, 30 years ago, people in my generation were applauded for staying on track, for sticking with the script, for not getting pulled down rabbit trails. That was a skill in and of itself. Well, now it's the 21st century, and that has really changed. Because if we stick with the original plan, if we stay so much to script, if we're not somewhat flexible, if we're not willing to improvise, we may very well lose great opportunities. And we got to look for those opportunities. And we just can't think that we're going to move from point A to point B to point C to point D. That may not be very linear in our achieving of goals. It may be a very winding path. But what connections do we make along that path? What opportunities do we identify that we did not see before? So influence is our ability to persuade. And I love one of the 7 habit rules of Covey is first seek to understand, then be understood. And if you want to influence others, you really need to understand from where they are coming.